Welcome to episode 38 of the Hodgepodge Podcast. I'm your host, Doug.
And I'm Dirty A. As the name suggests, we're going to talk about a hodgepodge of topics, anywhere from movies, music, TV, and other pop culture events.
And on this episode, it's an X-Men Xtravaganza as we discuss, with our special guest Matt King, X-Men Days of Future Past, and all other things X-Men. You can reach us at the Hodgepodge Podcast at gmail.com, over on our website, thehodgepodgepodcast.com, or you can find us on YouTube and iTunes. Just search for the Hodgepodge Podcast and subscribe.
This is going to be an exciting episode.
It will be. It will be. And joining us today is our good friend to the show, author Matt King. His first novel, sci-fi fantasy novel, is going to be available September 16th, 2014. And we're glad to have him back to talk some X-Men with us. He's also our resident Marvel geek.
Thanks for joining us, Matt.
You're welcome. Good to be back.
How about that introduction?
Yeah.
Put that blurb on your book.
I'm going to put that
Marvel
on the front
geek.
cover. Resident Marvel geek.
We already
Doug
did.
Simpson.
We just did a great blurb for A Million Ways to Die in the West on our video review.
Sure did.
Oh, that's right.
Check that one out.
$1 worth of comedy. So
I can't wait to go see that one.
yeah. So anyway, before we get into X-Men Days of Future Past and all the other X-Men movies, there's been a few comic book movie related developments as of late.
Big ones.
They're real big ones. So I wanted to do a little house cleaning first, since we had Matt here, who is our comic book guru. Although we may find that when it comes to the X-Men, I may be more than a match for him.
It's not even going to be a contest. You go to bed with these things every night laying around you.
And then you have me. I know nothing!
Nothing.
That's right. So it's there are two big Marvel stories that came out this week, and there was a big DC story. We'll start with the DC one because that'll be the fastest one to discuss.
Well, it's a two-parter, that DC story.
It is a two-parter, but it's like, this part's good, this part's bad.
Yeah. Go back to the first part.
Director Zack Snyder finally released the first image of Ben Affleck as Batman.
And the Batmobile.
And the Batmobile.
And the Invisible Jet.
And the Invisible Jet. That's right, from Wonder Woman.
That's right.
That was
in every picture.
That was hilarious. that was
in every picture.
He actually took a picture and said, of a field, and said, "It's the Invisible Jet." Yeah, that was awesome. That was funny. But the new Batman, Ben Affleck, he took a picture in black and white. The Batmobile looks like a cross between the Tumbler from Nolan's movies and the Batmobile from the 90s.
You know, I mean, what are you going to do? It's the Batmobile.
Right.
Yeah.
But Affleck's Batman, his costume has stubby ears and a big symbol on his chest.
Huge symbol
on his chest. And it really evokes The Dark Knight Returns, Frank Miller's 86 graphic novel. And Kevin Smith, who saw the Bat costume a while ago, he has been talking about it on his podcast now, and he says the color scheme is exactly like Frank Miller's. So
which is what, blue and gray?
Blue and gray, basically. The
and
bat,
with the black bat.
Yeah, it's a big black bat, and then the
outline,
and the belt is like all pouches and beige and stuff.
Yellow,
so
cylindrical pouches, and
So the costume to me looks okay in the picture. It's not a great picture.
I mean, that's why it's a teaser,
right?
I mean,
it's interesting that they did it in black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think that was Schneider's way of just leaving something else to reveal later, to keep the anticipation rolling along.
I guess.
Yeah.
I was a little disappointed in black and white. But
yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's the idea of being a teaser, not a full reveal of the suit.
Right.
I mean, there's still 2 years before this movie comes
Yeah, that's
out.
true.
Exactly.
That's true.
So they have a long time to sort of let the stuff bleed out.
Yeah.
But, Kevin Smith pretty much had let the cat out of the bag.
Well, after they...
No, even a while ago, he hinted to the fact that it was probably going to be a gray, a blue and gray suit.
Well,
he wasn't going to give
a costume
any
that we
details.
haven't seen before in the movies. Which
so he hinted at the fact
much
that it was
leaves nothing but
blue and gray. Right?
Yeah, basically.
But after this picture came out, he just completely let the cat out of the bag and said, "Look, take a look at Frank Miller's
he even gave
Dark Knight
it was
Returns costume, that's what you're going to see.
Right. But then they also released finally the final title of the movie, and it's Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, which recounts the landmark court case where Bruce Wayne sued Superman for destroying his Wayne Enterprise satellite.
We all remember that well.
In Man of Steel. So
it was morning when that happened.
Right.
There's no need to have.
And that night,
there was Injustice the night before.
Yes.
But by the morning,
by the morning, right?
It was the dawn of
justice dawned
when he filed suit against Superman.
Yeah. I like Dawn of Justice just fine. That's a fine title, but it doesn't need. This is not a movie that needs 2 titles.
Especially when the logo is the Superman sigil.
The logo is shit too. By the way,
on top of the Batman.
I hate the logo. I thought that was when I saw that months ago. I thought it was. I mean, it wasn't official at that point, but I thought for sure they won't do that. I just don't like the idea of mixing the logos together. They're not.
You racist.
That's right.
Right.
That's exactly
what that is. No, it's I don't know. The logo didn't bother me too much. I guess because they had already prepared us for it at the Comic-Con last year. They pretty much. I mean,
they also prepared us for it in the movie with.
I Am Legend.
I Am Legend. Yeah, the movie with Will Smith.
It was a little bit different.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I mean, they also prepared us for Superman versus Batman versus Superman.
Yeah, but
I still don't like that title.
They were constantly saying though that was like a.
It's a working
temporary title.
It's a working title. We're going to take the S out of the verses.
Now it's a court case.
Yeah.
Jack McCoy is in this one. Sam Waterston.
Yeah, I don't get the reason behind that name at all. I mean, it basically just tells you right away it's not a Man of Steel sequel.
No, yeah, it's a Justice League prequel.
Yeah, it's
basically.
a Justice League prequel. So
they could have told you that with Dawn of Justice.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh no, exactly.
Thing.
I would have preferred something like Trinity.
Anything.
Something.
Threesome.
That works.
Three's Company.
Yeah.
Three's a
2 men and a lady. That could have worked.
There you go. 2 guys and a girl
like that.
and a pizza place.
Right. 2.5 men.
2 good girls.
Because she's strong.
Right.
So that's that. It's whatever. We'll find out in 2 years what it looks like. I can't wait to see what Gal Gadot looks like in the costume. I want to see her costume more than I want to see Batman's costume.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking most forward to in this movie. I mean, it's going to be cool to see Batman and Superman in the same movie, but I really am dying to see Wonder Woman.
Right. You are.
And I just hope they don't fuck up the costume.
They did leak a couple images of Diana Prince.
Right.
And
see, I'm not so sure about that. Maybe they were filming that day, but
you think that's more of just her
walking around?
Somebody showed a picture the other day where she was in that exact same dress coming out of like a party somewhere, like a couple years ago.
Really?
So, I don't know if that was supposed to be.
Thanks for ruining that for me.
Yeah, you're welcome. But she did have the dark hair.
Yeah. So I guess we'll want to move on to the worst news of the week.
Yeah, that we found out just a couple of days ago. These 2 Marvel stories broke. Like the Batman stuff was the last week and a half or so. But Marvel started off the week really great. They released the Guardians of the Galaxy full trailer, and everyone's like, "Yeah, woo!" And then they laid a huge turd on Friday when it was revealed that after working on Ant-Man for 9 years, that's prior to Iron Man even being made, Edgar Wright has left Ant-Man. And the rumor is that Marvel wanted to exert a little bit more control and wanted him to rewrite the script, basically. And he did one. They didn't like it, and then they handed it off to lesser writers.
That's what they say. They actually had already handed it off to underlings, if you will.
And then
but he was still a creative aspect of the film.
Well, no, he was still going to be the director at that point. Right. Then he read it, and then he was like, nope, and he walked away.
Yeah.
And what lends credence to that story is that Simon Pegg put out a tweet afterwards, and he said, "I'm so proud of my friend Edgar Wright for basically sticking up for what he believes," and that's kind of damning for Marvel.
And James Gunn just replied to it today as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he basically had to walk the fence.
Oh, yeah.
He said he likens it. He gave the analogy of two good friends who he's really good friends with, but they're just never going to get along, and they're not bad people. They're just they're not going to get along, and now they've gone their separate ways. And this to me really hurts what I was looking forward to in Ant-Man. I was really looking forward to see what Wright would do with it. Because he was so close to the story, loved it. This was his baby, And I wanted to see what he could do with the big production movie as well. And I guess not going to happen now.
It definitely makes Ant-Man less interesting.
It really does, yeah. Well, we've talked about this and why we kind of think this probably happened.
Yeah.
It has to do with probably their Marvel's larger universe, their grand scheme of an idea, as opposed to Edgar Wright, who, like you mentioned, was working on this before any of that existed.
Yeah.
It's just gone on so long. I mean, as the Marvel universe has gotten bigger and bigger, I think it's probably harder for Wright's Ant-Man to fit into this universe. I mean, he did come up with this idea in 2006, something like that.
2005, 2006, something like that.
When he didn't have to worry about fitting it into an overall arc of of the universe, and so they've been trying for years to sort of manipulate it and try and get it to work within the timeline and the set of characters they have in the Marvel universe, and it looks like they just couldn't.
Could agree, I guess.
I mean,
that's too bad.
I think we'll definitely get a competent film. I think it'll probably still be good. I mean, because look at Captain America 2. I mean, who were the Russos before they did Captain America 2, basically? But we talked about this a little bit, and it might have been on the Cap episode or it might have been on the Batman episode, where I said, if DC or Warner Brothers had a Kevin Feige type unifying guy, you might not have gotten Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight. You might not have gotten that. And this is kind of looks like what Marvel might be doing.
Right.
It's becoming more like the comic books now, where the editors basically say, "Yeah, this is what the big story is going to be about. Now, writer, go write it." And it's like, it kind of
controls.
It's cool to create this universe, but
a little lack of independent thought you lose.
Yeah.
In the process, a lot of creativity gets stripped away, which for better or worse, right? I mean, it's a double-edged sword, right? I mean, you get your solidified universe, which will tie a lot of things together, which will in turn make things better as a whole.
Right.
But then, I guess I just, like you say, I have no doubt we'll probably see a very competent and well put together Ant-Man movie. I was just really looking forward to an Edgar Wright Ant-Man movie.
Yeah.
Like, I know now the tone of this movie. I'll never know what it would have been with Edgar Wright at the helm, but I know the tone will be very different than it was going to be.
Right.
It's, like I said, double-edged sword.
I mean, and they don't have a lot of time. I mean, this movie was supposed to start filming in July.
Yeah, they got to announce a director soon.
Yeah.
Well, and that, it's been thrown around that was a possibility that he was missing deadlines and timelines.
But they haven't started,
which I hope is not the
But
case.
they haven't started shooting yet, so it's really, that's kind of...
They haven't nailed down the cast yet, either.
Completely?
No.
Oh, okay. Well,
because Michael Pena was...
Probably because they're rewriting the script.
They don't know the cast.
They don't know who's going to be in it. Guess what? Paul Rudd, you're not even Ant-Man anymore.
Right.
Now you're Bob Swanson,
no,
and
you know
sell
what?
fish.
It could be that he's no longer Scott Lang, but now he's going to be Hank Pym.
Possibly.
Yeah.
But then what do you do with, what's his face?
We got Patrick
Michael
Wilson
Douglas.
and Michael Douglas. Yeah, sorry, Mike.
Michael Douglas just gone.
See, that's the thing. It's like, it is kind of negative. It is negative to have Wright exit the project. But if you're Marvel now, I guess you now have the freedom to have like a 30 or 40-year-old Hank Pym in your universe instead of a 60 or 70-year-old. I mean, you're right. And from a layman's perspective, that's probably the better story, the origin, if you will, kind of story, right? Yeah.
That's what people.
And it's like
that's what most people like to see.
He's the original Ant-Man character. Scott Lang came in when 80s. I mean, when did Scott Lang come in? But he was like the second Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Correct.
And so to lead off with him being
I don't even think he beat his wife.
Right, which is a prerequisite.
That's the kind of Ant-Man he is.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I wouldn't go see this movie unless someone, his wife got slapped around.
Come on.
Full
disclaimer. Nobody was hurt in the recording of this podcast.
Right. I might slap dog.
No.
We'll see.
Not yet. Right. That was a dot.
He's got to ask for it.
I might slap that dog.
Right.
The other big news that just came out yesterday, it's kind of along the same lines a little bit, is that Drew Goddard, who worked with Joss Whedon on Cabin in the Woods, was supposed to be the showrunner for Daredevil, the Netflix series for Marvel. That's the premiere one that's going to come out next year, 2015. Now he's off that. He's going to stay as a quote-unquote consultant. and but now he's off of that. They've already announced a new showrunner, some guy from Spartacus.
Steven DeKnight or something.
Yes, that's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
that's right.
This could be a little bit different situation, but Goddard was apparently a self-professed Daredevil fanatic.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to imagine that he would leave this.
Well,
He was also signed by Sony to do the Sinister Six movie.
Yeah.
Was he directing that too? Or?
yeah, he's
okay.
directing it.
I mean,
So-
if you have to choose
Yeah, Netflix series versus
big
$200 million
blockbuster feature film, you're going with Sinister Six.
Yeah. See, I don't know how he was.
But
thinking
my
he was gonna
question,
handle it.
but see, the thing is, you say that, but has he seen Amazing Spider-Man 2? I mean, I would
I'm
do
not saying
Daredevil.
that's the smartest move. I'm just saying that.
I mean, with Daredevil, you get to do 13 episodes and craft.
Yeah, but you're
A
still
portion
never
of the
gonna,
Marvel
you're
universe.
still never going to touch as many people or make as much money as you would. I don't care how bad the movie turns out being. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's something that will way further launch your career and look better on your resume than would a
We'll see.
doing a Netflix movie.
Yeah, but again,
I know.
We'll see.
Even
Look what-
Amazing Spider-Man 2, he
Look what happened to Joel Schumacher. He made Batman and Robin, and well,
He's still apologizing.
where is
for
he?
that.
He's
Yes,
still
he
apologizing
is.
for it, and he's not making that great stuff now. So
I'll just say Drew Goddard is now free to direct Ant-Man.
I guess,
Yeah.
I guess. Well, see, we don't know that either, because the other rumor is that because Amazing Spider-Man 2 has not been so well received and stuff like that, they're thinking about what might end up happening is Sony reshuffling what they want to do with their
Right.
Spider-Verse.
Well, that's what I'm
And-
saying. If Sinister Six really isn't going to happen, they just haven't announced it yet. Then Goddard is free to do something like Ant-Man.
Yeah, that's true.
Well,
You
what I was
said,
going to say
you
is,
said with the Netflix, didn't you say you saw someone write when they announced Goddard was gone? They're like, "Oh, quick! Someone call Edgar Wright."
yeah. Yeah, somebody on Collider put that in the comments. Quick, somebody call Edgar Wright. No, what I'm saying is they might move Sinister Six up, and
Oh no,
Yeah.
no! The problem with the Amazing Spider-Man was the villains. Why would you move up a movie that's only about the villains?
so why do you think that he left? Do you think they're gonna kick what's his face off of Spider-Man 3 and have Goddard do that?
Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised if they got rid of Webb.
But how? His name is Webb.
It fits so tightly into the story.
So, now I lost my train of thought.
Yeah,
Excellent.
You got so many.
No,
you got, you
as
got
far as-
cobwebs in your head.
Right. I just need that finger of spooge to
Oh, God.
rescue you. No, I think I was trying to think about who's going to replace Edgar Wright on Ant-Man, and I almost think this late in the game they would go with somebody they're comfortable with.
Yeah, someone
like a
seasoned in the
Favreau.
Yeah,
Or Patty Jenkins, who didn't get to work on Thor, but they said they still liked her and they wanted her to work on something else.
right.
Or Goddard.
Yeah, you're right. Or at least, yeah, those are probably a lot of the first names they'd go to.
It definitely wouldn't be Alan Taylor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
I'm not sure Favreau would be interested.
He doesn't have time.
Yeah.
He's working on Jungle Book, I think, right now.
So
Wait, no, I thought there was another Disney movie he was going to work on, and then that never happened. I mean, it says why he said he left Iron Man 3 is because he couldn't do Iron Man 3 because he was doing that Disney movie.
I think that was just cover. I don't think he was going to do Iron Man 3
I
in the
think
first
he
place.
was tired.
Yeah.
I think
He was.
he
I think he was really steamed with them after what happened with Iron Man
He
2.
lost
They basically
control.
rushed him through that.
Yeah.
Everyone thought he was going to be the front runner to do Avengers until they got Joss Whedon to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. So a little bit of turmoil at Marvel. We'll see how it goes.
Yep.
Big news from DC.
Big news from DC, but they're so lagging behind. It's not even funny. I almost feel like DC should just stick to TV and do that.
Which, yeah,
I
they're
mean,
really
'cause-
doing well with that.
So what were you going to say? You were going to say something.
No.
You look like you're going to say something.
No, I don't know if they're really lagging behind as much as they are. Just they're different. They don't have a studio that just makes superhero movies.
That's true. That's
You know,
true.
they're making 30 other
That's true.
big blockbusters a year. They just the only thing they could do is just create a new studio that is only
Right.
superheroes.
Right. Which I think they're sort of. I mean, not in the completely separating out, but they're working on padding their game a little bit. It's just, and like you said, they got 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't go so far as to say they're behind at this point because.
Well, the other
to go.
The other thing with DC though is that, and I see this mentioned all the time, where people are constantly like, "Oh, well, they're not doing it like Marvel, not doing it like Marvel." It's like you don't have to do it like Marvel for DC because everybody knows who those characters are. from Super Friends and all that stuff, and then the Justice League cartoon that came out in the early 2000s. People know Batman, Superman. People know who Wonder Woman is. A lot of people know who Aquaman is. If
people like us know, but it's like they're thinking about this new generation who doesn't know anything because those cartoons aren't on the air anymore.
Yep. Don't exist.
I mean, they have Teen Titans, and they were kind of on the air recently.
Yeah.
Which is maybe why Cyborg is going to be in this movie.
But he was also in the Justice League comic that
the New 52.
The New 52, yeah. So
but that was recent. That was only a couple years ago.
Yeah.
They started.
They launched that. Yeah.
So. Yeah, I don't know. I would have loved to have seen a Wonder Woman solo movie before Justice League and a Flash one.
Right. Well, you're gonna get a Flash movie. It's just gonna be 22 episodes long on CW.
And it's not gonna be connected to the movie universe. So
we'll see about that.
Yeah, who knows?
I'm
looking forward to that though. I said the teaser for that at the end, in the middle of that last episode of Arrow. I loved it.
Yeah, Flash looks good.
Yeah,
it does
looks cool. So we'll see what happens. But that is all the housekeeping that is done.
Right.
Now we are here to talk about what we're here to talk about, which X-Men Days of Future Past was released this weekend. Dirty A and I have actually seen it twice already, so you're lagging behind.
Which means it was an excellent movie.
Yes, I enjoyed it a lot. I thought Bryan Singer did a great job combining both the casts. Oh, and by the way, before we get started, spoilers. Spoilers.
Yeah, right. We're going to be talking about this movie and the X-Men universe as a whole, and we're throwing out spoilers.
Spoilers. We may even have spoilers. We don't know. We may even have spoilers for the next movie if a particular theory that's floating on a line pans out.
I mean, I'm less inclined to call that a spoiler and almost, almost believe it as a fact now.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
So if you want a spoiler-free review from me and Dirty A, you can go check out YouTube, and we have our video review up there of X-Men Days of Future Past.
But if you don't want to look at us, you can just.
But Matt's not in that. Right. Sorry.
Can you just sort of Photoshop me in the background? Yeah, just sort of like my head floating behind you guys.
Just the head, like woo! like Andy Dick in the Ben Stiller show.
We have time for that, right?
No, it's too late. We would end up cheating the 17 people that have already viewed the video. So, spoiler alert. So, if you don't want to know anything about it, you haven't seen it yet.
If you haven't seen it yet, what the hell are you doing? Get off your couch and go see this movie.
Yes. X-Men Days of Future Past. The story is set over 2 time periods. In 2023, the Sentinels, mutant hunting robots, have basically taken over the planet. And they've killed almost all the mutants, or rounded them up and put them into concentration camps. And humans as well. Humans who help them.
That they see as containing the gene of mutants.
Right.
Or their ancestors will at some point have the gene of mutants.
Right.
They've learned to target everybody.
The descendants.
What did I say? Oh, yeah, you're right. No, it's the Days of Future Past.
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
Nice try, my friend.
There's a handful of on me. There's a handful of X-Men left, and they have a plan that they've pinpointed basically where everything went off the rails as far as the Sentinels being created and everything, and it's in 1973. And their plan is to send Professor Xavier back, his mind back in time to that time period, but Kitty Pryde, who they have basically given her some kind of second mutation where she can phase through time
off camera.
Yeah, off camera. They phase through time. Well, they did a lot of stuff off camera for those future guys.
Yeah, we'll forgive them that.
Yeah, it looks like she can now phase through time. Relax. So she can phase through time and send people back in time, but she can only send people back a couple weeks or something like that. So they determined that the only person who could survive the trip is Wolverine, and also because Hugh Jackman is the biggest draw in the X-Men universe. So.
Because he can regenerate, but more importantly, because he is the cash cow of the universe.
Sorry, Ellen Page. They send Wolverine back in time, and his job is to find Xavier, played by James McAvoy, Magneto, played by Michael Fassbender, and they have to stop Mystique, played by Jennifer Lawrence,
from the same folks that you saw in
First Class. Well, not all of them.
Well, yeah.
Their job is to stop Mystique from murdering Peter Dinklage, who plays Bolivar Trask, the creator of the Sentinels. Mm-hmm. And they said once that happens, it sets it all in motion, all the future in motion.
Wait, I thought Bolivar Trask was a giant bald black man.
No, and that's funny you mentioned that, because in X-Men 3 there is a guy named Trask, but that's actually supposed to be Steven Trask.
Oh, that's Steven.
Who in the comics was, I think was Stephen Trask or was Stephen Lang? I can't remember. But anyway, I think he was supposed to be like the son of Boulevard Trask or something like that. But
even so,
I know. Look.
But
you're black. The whole point of this movie, basically, the combining of the two casts from the older X-Men movies and then the cast from First Class, the whole point of doing this is to essentially erase X-Men 3 from the canon.
Yeah, you cannot take that movie into account because it doesn't fit at all if you do. But I will say this.
And X-Men Origins.
Yeah,
and X-Men Origins
for the most part. Yeah, it was. It seems like a very derivative idea that's circled around and been done over and over again. But at least this more or less fits into the X-Men universe.
Well, yeah,
this is a story,
right?
Of sorts that fits into the canon of that universe.
It's based on Days of Future Past, the comics, which was a two-parter in 1980 to 81, done by Chris Claremont and John Byrne, and that predates probably the most famous time travel story with dystopian future, which is Terminator.
T2. Yeah,
so you could say that James Cameron perhaps ripped off the X-Men. Perhaps. Days of Future Past. So then what happens is they go and there's a couple little twists in the plot. We finally get full-on supervillain Magneto, which was awesome. And, the cast does a great job in it. It's the future stuff is really dark.
That's
and I want
definitely my favorite part of the film.
I wanted them to spend more time in that future time, but the movie's 2 hours and 10 minutes as it is.
I agree with you. It's just from what they give you, there's not much to show. They're doing what you see them do, and how much more. I mean, if you delve into like what they're doing with the slaves that they've got,
right?
That would be really cool.
Yeah, well, that's true, but I also think a big reason why they limited what they did in that time period is because they only had that cast for like a month basically, and they had to basically had to like, knock it out.
Yeah,
and then they went and did all the 1973 stuff.
But I mean, the main story is about what takes place in the past.
Right. It's more the story is mainly about Charles Xavier and him getting his shit together, basically, because when you meet him in this one, he's basically a drug addict. It's not a drug that you and I can take.
1970s when they go back to the early 70s.
73.
Yeah, so when they go back to the early 70s, he's basically lost all hope in his world, in his humanity, and he's
a drunk. And
he's just
an addict,
struggling to survive, to find a reason to live, basically.
Right.
And he's got his trusty sidekick Hank McCoy who's hanging around. Beast is hanging around with him, just to. I don't know. It's almost like he's his butler. It's really weird.
Yeah.
It's like a very, very odd dynamic there.
What's weird about it? It's just two guys living together out in the middle of nowhere.
What could they be doing? I don't know.
Leave it alone.
Don't ask, don't tell.
Right. No, they basically took everything that was good about First Class and kept it, and then jettisoned everything else that was stupid about First Class, and then that didn't happen either.
Yeah.
And basically, what you get, we won't go through we were going to spoil some stuff, but we're not going to go through the whole plot the whole way, but. Basically, what you end up with at the end is a complete reset of the X-Men movie universe. Yeah. And,
but like I said, I think it's more of an organic reset as opposed to just going in and cold figuring out.
It's better than what Star Trek tried to do.
Right. That's it's more organic in that the storyline exists, in the universe.
Right.
So I thought that was all right. And I definitely look forward to where it's going from here.
Yeah.
I think it's on the right track.
Yeah, it is. So, Matt,
you've been
you're being very quiet.
Please,
I'm just listening to the recap.
Rain on our parade.
I'm not going to rain on the parade. All right, I know you guys don't think I don't like this movie, but I do like the movie.
Yeah.
It's just I'm not giving it the same grade that you guys do.
Right.
All right.
Yeah. For me, it's ranking it. I put it behind X1 and X2. I like those two movies more than I like this one. Now, that being said, it's way better than First Class.
Yeah.
And I don't even want to talk about X3.
Yeah, Last Stand. It just doesn't
Origins,
even.
Yeah,
Last Stand.
I think we all agree that's the worst.
That is by far the worst
movie that they've made.
The absolute worst one is X-Men Origins.
Oh no.
You think First Class is you think Last Stand is worse than X-Men Origins?
I think X3 is the worst movie
because of what they did to the Phoenix story because they fucked it up so bad.
It was real. I mean, they really bad.
Well, the other thing is too
the best story in X-Men comics and arguably one of the best, most known stories in all of comics, and they
Right.
completely galvanized and ruined that story.
Yeah, but the other thing is with
And I say they, and I mean
It's really Ratner. It's really...
Brett Ratner.
it is him, but this
Singer should also take some.
I mean,
Oh,
he
yeah.
No,
Oh,
he
yeah.
definitely takes some credit.
No,
but-
blame. He should
blame.
take some
Blame credit in the
because he went off to
Yeah, but the Phoenix story came directly from Ratner, and he could have.
No. What happened was that Brett Ratner,
So,
I think he does suck, and I think he's the thing with X-Men 3 is that it doesn't even feel like it belongs with X-Men 1 and 2. The tone is completely different, and like right down to like even like the president, like they got Joseph Sumner to play the president. He's always like, well, that's what nothing like a woman scorned, and it's like it's so fucking cheesy and hokey, but that's Ratner. But as far as the story and everything, that was all set in motion before Ratner came on board. Matthew Vaughn was supposed to be the director on X-Men Last Stand, and he got pretty far into the pre-production. And then he said, oh no, my family, I'm going to miss them.
So that Dark Phoenix story was already there.
It was already in motion. And what happened was, because they had like...
I partially apologize, Brett.
And they basically just brought him into... I mean, don't get me wrong, he should shoulder a lot of the blame.
I understand.
But they brought him in basically to bat cleanup.
Yeah.
And you're right, Bryan Singer does deserve a lot of the blame too, because... Like I said in my review when I did my retrospective, I we didn't even get a good Superman movie out of it because he went off to go do Superman for Warner Brothers. That screwed Cyclops, James Marsden, because he put Marsden in Superman, and then Fox, they just said, "Oh, well, we'll show you."
Yeah,
now Cyclops is going to die 5 minutes into this movie, so fuck you, James Marsden, and which sucks because he's
and a fucking terrible death. Because not a death you don't even just off camera. He's just gone.
Yeah, and they always gave Cyclops the shaft in those movies. He did a good job in X-Men 1. X-Men 2, I can forgive that they didn't have him that much in it because in the story they were adapting, which was God Loves, Man Kills, Cyclops is off page for a lot of that story, getting brainwashed and stuff like that. So that pretty much followed the comic. But then X-Men 3, if it was going to be about Phoenix, should have been all about Cyclops. It should have been, they should have done basically what they did in Days of Future Past, where Wolverine, he's the biggest star, but he's not really the protagonist of the movie. It's really Xavier. So Wolverine kind of takes a back seat a little bit. I mean, he's the fulcrum for the action, but it's not all about Wolverine.
Yeah.
Whereas, and then X-Men 3, they try to make it all about Wolverine again. When you just had X-Men 2, which was all about Wolverine, which was great. X-Men 2 was fantastic, but they should have really,
Yeah.
But those are the other.
If you're going to include Origins in there, I don't know what order. I honestly, this is my favorite one. This Days of Future Past is my favorite one yet. I just really like what they did with the story, and I don't have as much invested in the comics as you two gentlemen. Which is a legitimate reason, mind you. For me, this story, I really liked it. I really liked how tight it was. I'd probably then say I go back and forth on 2 and 1, but I think I'd say then 2, then 1. I think I gotta go with Doug. I think Origins is the worst of the bunch if you're throwing that in there.
Because Origins,
but God, I hated what they did with the Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, because Origins is in itself just a bad movie. Like it's a badly made movie.
That's right.
Like I mean, his claws look so fake in that movie.
Right.
It's just so bad, and they just you're going to do Wolverine's origin, and like I said, I've said this before. You don't have to be slavish to the comics because the X-Men movies certainly are not. But I mean, like you take important elements out of his story, like. When in X-Men Origins, he goes to that farm with the old couple. They're the Hudsons. You can see it in the credits. The Hudsons were supposed to be a major, major part in Wolverine's coming back to society, and they were young people. And it was his wife was a redhead, and he was in love with her. And it kind of leads into the whole Jean Grey thing. So it meant so much more. And it said it's an old lady goes, here's my son's motorcycle and this jacket, which is now your uniform.
And off he goes.
Because, it's just so fucking dumb. And then he was in the bathroom and he has those Roger Rabbit claws. Oh, my God. So
it was really bad.
And then, of course, and I'm surprised you actually said that you thought Last Stand was the worst one, especially what they did to your favorite character, Deadpool.
They did.
Wow.
They shit all over him.
God, no.
He was great in the beginning of it, and then after that, they totally shit all over Deadpool.
That's a shame, too, because what a character he truly is, not in that movie.
Yeah, see, I think the reason I dislike X3 more is because I think...
You just hate Radner.
I do hate Radner. As far as directors go.
Yeah.
I don't think he wasn't the right man for the job. But
he's not the Antichrist.
X3...
They just knew he wouldn't rock the boat, though. That's why they brought him in.
Sure. X3 ruined the X-Men.
Yeah, it did.
Origins
You're right.
ruined Deadpool
Wolverine,
and Wolverine.
and Wolverine and
It's,
Deadpool.
you know,
Okay,
Wolverine survived it,
that's fair.
but Deadpool was the real casualty of Origins.
Oh yeah.
And sorry, Ryan
I know he gets shit on again. I mean, this guy's the most unluckiest.
I don't know.
They the superhero universe.
They seem. I mean, every interview they go into, Lauren Schuler Donner keeps saying that they're trying to get Deadpool. They're trying to get it to work, and she still says Ryan Reynolds is in. Like he's still gonna be.
Because he is not the problem. Once again, he's not the problem.
Yeah, when he was Wade Wilson in that movie, he was great.
X-Men Origins is good up until he gets to that farm. Everything up to that's good. I mean, except when they had young Cyclops in, which was fucking dumb.
But that's all of 10 minutes.
Yeah, but still, it's just stupid. It was just that's what. Anyway.
Yeah, let's
end Days of Future Past.
Let's look back at Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
Matt, what are some more of your issues with Days of Future Past?
Well,
granted, we realize you like the movie. We just
I do like the movie,
knocking you a little
but I mean, the reason I knock it down some is like you guys were talking about how dark and you know the future stuff was,
right.
And this is partially because it's a time travel movie, which for me sort of, unless they do it right, it can rob it of a lot of tension. Just because time travel is like magic, you know, you can poof, done, it's gone. Right. And so I mentioned this to Doug already. I thought it was a mistake to show all of the mutants being killed in the first scene. And the reason I think that's a mistake is because then I don't feel any tension at all when the mutants are coming, or the Sentinels are coming back for them again to kill them again. It's like, oh, you're just going to erase it and jump back 10 minutes. You know, it's that time travel to me just can kill tension.
But you know, for me, I see where you're coming from, absolutely. But for me, it's like, well, okay, but a lot of things can go wrong, right? There's still you have to. Kitty Pryde still has to be able to fully get who was she using?
Oh, Bishop.
You know, back. And she's got to have time to do that. And then when you talk about the larger story, well, a lot of things have to happen in the past to fix that stuff. One of my issues was that I couldn't really tell, but it seemed like it was weird because when she was showing the scenes with Bishop, it's almost like she knew when things were correcting themselves, because you know, like she's like, oh, you're too late. But with Charles, she didn't know anything.
Well, she can't read
or with
minds.
Wolverine. Right? Well, that's my point. How did she seem to know that it was, you know?
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I mean, it's just like showing them all die in the first opening scene, and then I think it would have been better if you showed them at least using that scene to showcase how awesome the Sentinels were, but have them fight them off. And just barely escape right before they were all killed.
Yeah, instead of
everybody dying.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I mean, the reason why, and I understand where you're coming from too. The reason why they did it was because they had to show what they were going to do with Wolverine, basically how it works, all that kind of stuff.
But they can still do that without killing everybody.
Well, yeah,
I guess
they were. To me, it's almost like they were able to give that exposition without having to talk you through it. They just.
But they were also showing, showing how deadly the Sentinels are.
Yeah,
I mean, like that they really have no chance. Like it's like this really is the Hail Mary.
Their only option is to erase the past.
Yeah,
that's the only way they can defeat it. But I know you're. I guess I could see that. It didn't distract from the movie. You know, I love the way they used Blink's power.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Blink was really cool. Yeah. Was it Warpath?
Warpath. It's hard. I guess you were trying to explain to me what his power is. I guess it's kind of hard to.
He's like the ultimate Native American, basically.
That's his power. Right? I was hoping that wasn't really show that.
I was hoping that wasn't his powers. That he was the ultimate. Native
he just
American.
has he's just got like super senses and strength and all that kind of stuff. That's really
he's the ultimate Native American.
Yeah, basically that's his deal.
So,
and there were two Warpaths in the comics. The first one joined with Wolverine, Storm, Colossus, and he
dances with Sentinels.
Right.
He died a few issues into their run, and then he had a brother who came back for revenge. He ended up joining X-Force with Cable and all that stuff. And apparently he was like a giant because. Well, Rob Liefeld was drawing him, so he was he was like as big as the Hulk. It was ridiculous.
But he had little 2-inch long feet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Cable was too.
Yeah, Cable. Yeah, everybody Rob Liefeld drew was a giant, and then you get Captain America.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah. So there was that, which is not a huge deal. It was just a personal preference of mine. But then my bigger concern was that they sent the wrong person back in time, which is great. I think as far as creating story tension goes, he's the worst. Wolverine is the worst person in the world that you should be sending back as a diplomat.
Agree with that point. I think they tried to explain that away in the exposition of he's literally the only one they could.
No, which is fine. I think
but
that's okay.
You're right. You're right.
They explained it.
Yeah, you're right though. As far as a plan goes, a strategy goes, that's the worst.
And
but
see,
he even says that.
But we didn't see any consequences of that.
Yeah.
That's the problem. I think you send this hothead, rabid Wolverine back in time, and he's this kinder, gentler Wolverine.
Right from the beginning, when he sent back, I had that same problem when those thugs come in the bedroom that he's in, and he just tries to talk them down, as he would. Yeah. I had that same problem.
See, that's just not the Wolverine I want to see.
Yeah.
It's
that's true. I mean, but my take on that was that he was a more mature Wolverine and stuff like that.
50 years past,
and he also has to.
He was how many 100 years old
before? Right.
Before that,
he was pretty mature already.
But this was after he'd been with the X-Men for decades now. So it's like
he was under Charles' tutelage.
Because that's really,
the world is a literally completely different place.
Right. That's really what happened in the comics. Like when Wolverine first comes to the X-Men, he is the berserker and all this stuff. But then as the 80s went on and stuff like that, he became more of like he would have his freakouts. He have his berserker rage.
Maybe if they had just bothered to take a line of dialogue or two to explain that.
Well, it's I don't know.
But it's still not what you wanted to see.
It's still not. There's no. Right. There wasn't as much tension, I don't think. And,
right.
So, I also had some questions about the whole time travel, theory there. So they said there was a specific point in time that they had to go back. Right, mm-hmm. Is when the Mystique shot Trask. Mm-hmm. But Wolverine is much older than that. Couldn't they have sent him further back in time?
Yeah. So you mean
to when?
Right, to kill Trask as a kid, to kill Trask's mom. I mean, anything. Yeah. They're right. There didn't have to be that one specific.
But see, that was kind of the whole point, is that of what they were doing, and you kind of said it when we were watching First Class. Why does he care if he kills this guy? It's because Xavier's all about trying to make it better, make the world a better place. So he was trying to save them, but he was also trying to save Mystique. He was also trying to save, he was trying to make so she doesn't become a killer, basically, by killing him. Because they made that, they hit that point home in the beginning, that it was the first time she really killed. And then she just went off the rails from there.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, Charles Xavier is never.
He's all about peace. He's all about peace.
Killing anyone. That's not his.
Why not send somebody back to talk Trask out of becoming this mutant mad scientist? Because it doesn't seem in the movie that he hates mutants.
He doesn't. No.
He
says he admires them.
Yeah.
It's more about practicality. He's more practical.
What's coming.
Right.
Is the thing, though. Yeah.
I mean, you could go so many different ways with
I know,
that.
But this is the problem with time travel. You open up.
You can pick it apart so easily.
It's so easy to show some plot holes in time travel stories.
Yeah. I mean, let's get down to what this movie really was about. It was really about resetting everything, and basically getting rid of X3.
Yep.
Because here, major spoilers. If you held on this long, now we're going to totally ruin the ending for you. We're going to totally ruin the ending for you.
Yeah.
At the end of the movie,
Reddington is her father.
What? At the end of the movie, Wolverine completes the mission. He wakes up. He wakes up in the future, back in the future, and everything. He's at the X Mansion, and everything is hunky dory. Everything's fine. Beast is alive because he tells Hank in the past, and this is in the trailers. Hank says, "Am I going to make it?" And he goes, "No." And if you go to what was that site called? The 25 Moments.
Oh,
they created this viral marketing.
That wasn't on IO9, was it?
No. It might have been, but it was X-Men. It was Fox. They made that site.
Oh no, yeah, the link to it, but yeah, you're right. Right. It was a Fox site.
They made this viral site called 25 Moments that lead up to.
I think it's called the 25 Moments.
It might be, yeah. Just search X-Men 25 Moments on Google and you'll find it. And one of the 25 moments is that Hank is dragged out by these human supremacists, and then they basically kill him. They beat him to death.
Right.
So Hank's alive, and it's Kelsey Grammer. They bring Kelsey Grammer back, which was great. And Storm's alive because Storm died. All the X-Men die, basically, trying to protect Wolverine and Kitty as he tries.
Right.
As they try to complete the thing.
The quote-unquote X-Men left alive are the ones you'll see on screen at the beginning of
Days of Future Past. Yeah, like Storm, Colossus.
They're
the new people, Blink, Bishop, Sunspot, who's really Sunfire. I don't know why they.
I don't know why they changed. Yeah,
they should have just made him Sunfire,
yeah.
the Japanese guy, and then Warpath, and then Iceman, Kitty.
Yeah, that's it.
Then he's walking through the school, and then he gets to basically the professor's study. There's a woman in a red dress and long red hair standing in the doorway. It's Famke Janssen, it's Jean Grey. He walks up, he's like, "What the fuck? You're alive, blah, blah, blah." He reaches out to touch her. A hand comes out off screen,
Scott.
and it's James Marsden as Cyclops, which was great. And then basically he basically says to Scott, "It's good to see you." And Scott's like, "Uh-huh." And he just walks away.
Like, whatever.
And then he goes to talk to Professor Xavier. And Professor Xavier's like, "Hey, don't you have a class to teach? What the hell? You're teaching history." And he goes, "I can only remember back to 1973." And then Xavier, because he remembers,
his mind.
He doesn't read his mind. He remembers because of everything he told him in the past. He goes, "Welcome back." So he knew they had switched.
I assumed he was reading.
No.
He remembers. He knew that he to 70 self remembers.
Right. He knew that he had switched bodies back. Now he'd come back,
Gotcha.
and he says, "Yes, we have a lot
Welcome
to discuss.
back.
We have a lot to discuss."
What's the last thing you remember, and then that.
Right.
Yeah.
And so basically, what they've done is you basically assume that this is the new 2023. And the movie Days of Future Past ends in 73. So now they basically have 50 years in between where they can
play
make
with
X-Men adventures.
Yeah.
And I know what you're thinking right now, that I can see it on your face.
He's not pointing at me. He's not pointing at me.
Is he reading my mind?
Yes.
He's fingering
He
himself.
didn't have his finger up to his temples.
He's fingering himself right now.
So now they're going to use that time to tell all these new X-Men stories in between. They'll recast Storm, Jean, and Cyclops, and then Wolverine will probably be Hugh Jackman for at least a little while. He'll be Wolverine. At the very, very end of all the credits, there is a tease for the next film where it's in ancient Egypt, and there's a blue-skinned man in a hood.
It's coming up from behind
him, and all these people are worshiping him, saying En Sabr Noor, En Sabr Noor, and he's basically building the pyramids with his mind. This is Apocalypse, and on a dune behind him, there are literally four horsemen behind him, and this is Apocalypse, who will be the villain in the next one.
Cuts to his face, it pans around to his face, and then cuts to black.
And it looks like a woman, but
when
we saw it again, it is a young man. But it looks like a woman.
It did look like a woman.
It does not. It just looked like a young boy.
He will be the villain in the next one, and this won't be... They might take elements of it, but this will not be Age of Apocalypse. That story, the classic story from the comic books, because I seriously doubt they're going to do 2 time travel movies in a row, because that's basically what it is. So the next movie is going to be set in the 80s.
Yes.
Now, as to what the next movie is going to be about,
Mohawk Storm.
They got to have Mohawk Storm.
Mohawk Storm.
My friend Jim is really hoping for Mohawk Storm.
Lupita Nyong'o as Mohawk Storm. How could they
not do it? How could they not?
They have to do it.
Lupita Nyong'o as a Mohawk Storm.
Yep.
Oh, perfect. So they have.
No, folks, that would be taking Storm in the right direction.
Yeah, right.
Which we know they have yet to do.
Let's get another American. Storm. Kerry Washington. Kerry Washington is Storm.
Yeah, right.
right.
So
you don't need a Kenyan.
Right, don't need that. So there's a theory that popped up online that goes to Days of Future Past and what happens in this movie. Because Mystique isn't just all about killing Trask. She goes to Vietnam, she frees some other mutants, and at the end of the movie, Wolverine gets... Magneto basically... there's an homage to Fatal Attractions where he tore the adamantium out of Wolverine. In this, he's putting metal into Wolverine so he can control him, and then he sends him, throws him to a river, and he's fishing.
That was awful.
You
see this rebar going through him, and you're like, oh!
Yeah. And that's the other thing, what I mean, it's very dark. It's very, when I said it was dark, it's the future is dark, but it's also just, the fights are so brutal. I mean, I think it's as dark as a mainstream comic book movie.
They finally gave us a real fight.
Yeah.
I mean, X1, no fighting, right? X2, they finally show some deaths, I guess.
Yeah, Wolverine going a little off.
X3,
it's
a
bridge
being...
It was a video game.
Yeah, I mean, and in this one, they finally are giving us some, real-world scenarios of what mutants can't or are willing to do.
Right. So Mystique goes to Vietnam, and then she fishes Wolverine out of the water. She's disguised as William Stryker, who plays a part in this. He works with Bolivar Trout.
This is literally the very end of
the movie. So she fishes Wolverine out of the water, and she smiles, and then they do the yellow eyes on William Stryker, and it's Mystique. Now, the mutants she frees in Vietnam, one guy makes people sick, one guy makes them pass out, perhaps from fatigue or perhaps hunger. Havoc is one of the Havoc from First Class is one of the guys she frees, and he just destroys shit.
He's a destroyer. Yeah.
She also frees Toad, but who gives a shit about Toad?
Yeah.
And then she secures Wolverine at the
gives,
end.
He gives wet rides.
Wild rides.
Mr. Toad.
Wild ride.
Wet ride.
No, it's wild ride.
Wild ride.
Get out of here.
No.
So she fishes Wolverine out of the water. Now she has these guys. And the theory is that they are going to become the four horsemen of Apocalypse for Apocalypse in the 80s. And that Apocalypse will be the one who gives Wolverine the adamantium and all that stuff, which is something Chris Claremont wanted to do in X-Men. But they did a comic book story called Weapon X. Barry Windsor Smith wrote and drew it. I was going to say wrote and directed it. He wrote and drew it. And he said to Chris Claremont, who wrote X-Men for 16 years in the comic books, he said, well, who did you always want to be behind Wolverine's medal? And Chris Claremont said, I was going to make it Apocalypse. So in the story, the doctor who is in charge of the project is always talking to this guy on the phone. And the disembodied voice on the phone, basically Barry Windsor Smith said, that's basically Apocalypse. Mm-hmm. And Apocalypse also, in a story called The 12, which happened years and years later, he re-put the adamantium on Wolverine after he had it taken off by Magneto, and then he became Death for his new Horseman.
I mean, it makes perfect sense.
It makes perfect sense.
Fits in just like a puzzle piece.
And what happens in this movie is that they cut back to these guys a couple of times too. And, it makes perfect sense that this is where they might go with it. I didn't think they would do it because I knew that Wolverine had been Death in the comic books at one point. I didn't think they'd do it because I didn't think Fox would have the balls to make the face of the X-Men movies the villain, basically, in the next one. But it looks like that might be where it's going.
They could balk on the Wolverine is Death thing, but the general idea of that story, it seems like that's exactly where they're going.
Now, Toad, when Apocalypse made one of his first appearances in X Factor in the Fall of the Mutants storyline, there was a guy called Caliban.
Piers Morgan?
Yes. There was
That's another show.
Whatever. There was a guy called Caliban who was one of the Morlocks, and he was like a toady, and he was working with X Factor. And then Apocalypse said, "I will give you power," and blah blah. He goes, "Oh, fine, I'll join Apocalypse." So maybe that's where
he
Toad
wasn't a
comes
horseman,
in. Right?
He was part.
He
of
was his
the
lackey.
crew.
He became his lackey. So maybe that's where Toad comes in. Who knows?
Okay.
But they never really explain why Mystique is there to free those guys.
Right.
She frees them. Yeah. And because at first I was like, well, she goes to the Vietnamese general later, but no, she sees him in France, and that's only after she goes and disguises herself as
That's
Trask.
right. I mean, the thing is, it's not like they're just showing her free some people just to show that she's on her own stuff. They are very specific about pointing out what these people do,
right?
And very specific about callbacks to them later, like you mentioned. I mean, it just all fits.
Yeah. So, if they do it, it would be really, really cool, I think. And then, of course, what would probably happen at the end is that Wolverine, they would unbrainwash him or whatever, and then he would join the X-Men.
But not knowing anything about that story from the comics, so the Horsemen, they change throughout the years or decades or centuries as Apocalypse goes through, right? It's not always the same
No. No, it's not. Yeah, it's not always the same people.
Powers.
He just because in Fall of the Mutants, he had like three nobodies who were famine, war, and pestilence, and then he remade Angel. In another story, the year before that, these human rights people anti-mutant people had ripped off amputated his wings, and then they thought Angel had killed himself, and then Apocalypse took him and gave him the metal wings to become Archangel, and then he was Death in that storyline.
Okay. Right.
So it's different people all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems to fit right in with where
it really does. It would be.
But
awesome
I'm really looking forward to Age of Apocalypse.
I'll almost be disappointed if they don't do that now at this point. Because as I recalled too, when I was thinking about it, because when I read this theory, I was like, oh my god, because this isn't my theory. I'll just point that out there. This some guy put this on a board or something like that, or I think Superhero Hype is where it originated or something like that. But when I read it, it just blew my mind. I was like, oh my god, that's right, that's perfect. And then I recalled, I was like, wait, in the cartoon, Mystique worked for Apocalypse.
Right, yeah.
And because I wasn't a big fan of the cartoon. I was more
that's
about
the
the
only way
comics.
I know the X-Men.
So like I was like, oh, so maybe they're making a callback to that.
Yeah.
You know, this guy was arguing with me online. He's like, no, that goes. She doesn't work for Apocalypse. That goes against what she does in this movie. I'm
less
like,
arguing and basically just trying to shut you down by saying no.
Yeah, right. So I don't know. I mean, it would be pretty cool if they did that.
Yeah. Where would that? I'm trying to think if that's going to be in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Where does X1 fit into it?
That's the whole thing, though. This movie, Days of Future Past, basically wipes those out as well.
Oh.
Because Wolverine Wolverine is now, if once they put him in Apocalypse, the next one, that's it. Because they had no contact with Wolverine beforehand.
It couldn't have wiped out.
It did. It wiped out everything.
It couldn't have wiped out That happened in 1962.
No,
that's First Class.
Oh, yeah.
No, he's talking about the first X-Men movie.
Oh, yeah,
that's
you're right.
gone.
Yeah, that would be gone.
That's gone.
All that would be gone. Yeah.
All that's gone.
Okay.
So I mean, this movie literally
reset.
It resets everything, and
except for X1.
Except for First Class.
First Class.
Except for
First Class. Yes.
Which is fine because I like Fassbender as Magneto. He's awesome.
Yeah, he's really good.
And McAvoy's good as Xavier. I mean, they're the two best parts of that movie.
So we're gonna get another X2 situation in Apocalypse where Magneto has to help.
Good.
Probably. Because Apocalypse is going to be so big a villain they have to.
Which in the, I don't know about the comics, but in the TV show that wasn't that uncommon. They had to work together a lot. They had to come together quite a bit.
Yeah.
You know,
They're
old friends. Yeah.
I will say that Ian McKellen kind of gets the shaft in this new movie because he's barely in it.
God, he's so underutilized in this movie because he's a great Magneto.
Yeah, he's good.
Now, the scripts haven't let him do as much as I feel Magneto should have been doing.
Well, he wasn't as dynamic as Fassbender. I mean, Fassbender got to do so much cool shit.
Yeah,
in First Class
I mean
and
Magneto. They in 1 and 2 and 3, all of them.
Well, see, the thing is,
he's kind of a lame villain. Kind of, you know, you don't actually see him kill one. I guess X2 you do.
Well, no, what happens is that
1 and 3 are terrible. Basically, he moves a bridge.
Well, X-Men 1, and we can segue into that. You know, we watched this again last night. I hadn't seen X-Men 1 in a few years. And X-Men 1 is really solid. Everything they did with the X-Men is perfect.
Yeah, it's like I said, I really teeter between 1 and 2 before this one being my favorite.
The characterizations, they got the love triangle, the relationship between Wolverine, Jean, and Cyclops. Perfect.
Scott and Logan, their banter, their chemistry is fucking awesome.
The only problem with X-Men 1 basically is the Magneto end of it. And his plot. It's very, very 90s comic book.
Oh, sure. We're going to just create mutants.
Yeah. And it's very kind of corny and stuff like that. Also, his band of mutants, it was clear they were going with real 90s casting with that. If they had known how key Mystique was going to be to the whole mythology, I don't think they would have cast Rebecca Romijn as Mystique.
Right. Well, I remember when the movies first came out, and it still annoys me now, and I know the real world budgetary constraints and everything. I was so mad that Beast wasn't in the original X-Men. I remember when that came out, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? You're going to have X-Men without Beast? This is bullshit.
But X-Men 1, I thought I was worried about it because you were worried. Oh, and we actually haven't talked about one of the best parts of Days of Future Past before we get into this, because this was going to lead into what I was going to say about X-Men. When I first saw the costumes for X-Men on the cover of Entertainment Weekly, I was like, oh my god, those look awful. They're going to fuck this up so bad. And then I saw the movie, and I was like, holy shit, that movie was awesome. And they got Wolverine perfect. I mean, Hugh Jackman was perfect as Wolverine. But we had a similar situation with Days of Future Past, where there was one character where the costume came out, and everyone said, this movie is going to suck. and it was Quicksilver.
Yeah.
And you look at Quicksilver, you're like,
Oh, yeah,
what a
that's right.
douchebag.
Oh, we forgot to mention this in the video.
Yeah, we did.
Also, just one of the best parts of the movie.
It's because he went by so fast. Quicksilver is played by Evan Peters in Days of Future Past, and he is one of the best parts of this movie.
Yeah.
His scenes are so great and so fun.
And it makes perfect sense why he is who he is. And he's a young adolescent. He's not the Quicksilver. Who he grows up to be. So it makes sense. We're all different when we're kids. But man, I can't believe we almost forgot to talk about that again because we're literally doing such an injustice to the movie because that was the best scene of the movie.
That was a great action.
Was the prison break scene?
Yep,
it was amazing.
Yeah, it was the best action scene in the movie.
It was really cool.
Yeah. Another one of my complaints is I would have liked to see more action in this movie, but that was the best.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah.
One of my complaints is that I understand too many hints and all that. But I don't. It kind of irked me even the second time I saw it that after that prison break scene, Quicksilver just gone.
Yeah.
Like in any other.
Like he's not gonna be helpful from now on out.
We can't use him from now on.
Just stop him from shooting
anything.
The bullet going in the trash.
Obviously, he can stop almost anything, but they're like, oh no, you've done enough. I mean, they don't explain it at all. They just
see you later.
After that scene, no even goodbye. That's what I'm saying. After that scene, he's not there anymore. Now, granted, they said this is what they wanted him for, but typically after you go and recruit someone and say you want them, guess what? You pull them into the team. You keep them in the team. But he's just gone after this, and then they reference him later watching the TV as things unfold. But I mean, he could have done anything to stop the bullets.
Yeah.
No, that's true. Well, I gave the movie an A-. I didn't say it was perfect.
Yeah. Again, we're picking crumbs out of a solid piece of work.
And as far as Quicksilver's lineage, Michael Fassbender, they asked him the question in an interview, and he made it in no uncertain terms. Yes, Magneto is his father, and that's where they're going.
They absolutely say that. Yeah. What does he say? He says, "Oh."
My mom,
So you manipulate metal? My mom used to know a guy that did that.
And Magneto's like,
So I noticed that they cut away before they showed the little girl sitting on Quicksilver's lap in that scene.
Yeah. Didn't you tell me that's not?
That's not supposed to be.
It's not supposed to be her.
Okay.
Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
So he's supposed to have a twin.
Right.
Well, obviously that wouldn't be his twin.
Right.
No,
that would not be his twin.
Right.
So I guess she was upstairs.
Yeah. They talked to the producers, and they were talking to the producers, and they said that no, she's not in the movie.
Yeah.
But it's possible maybe they're saving her for Apocalypse. Who knows? Maybe because Quicksilver, they said he will be back in the next one.
Yeah.
Which is cool. He was good. I liked him a lot.
Yeah, what's that actor's name?
Evan Peters. Evan Peters.
Evan Peters. He was in American Horror Story.
Yeah.
He's great.
He was, and I got to say, he set the bar pretty high for Quicksilver in Age of Ultron.
Nope.
I think he did.
No.
I think he did.
No, he didn't. Because his name in this movie was not Quicksilver.
Oh, okay.
All right.
See, that was the only concern.
All right.
It's not that he's a speedster. The only concern going into Age of Ultron was that people were going to say, well, I just saw Quicksilver.
Right.
He was in Days of Future Past.
Right.
Is he now in, what's going on here? But they didn't call him Quicksilver in this movie. So he was just known as Peter.
Right.
But
as far as nerds go, the bar is very high.
They show the mailbox. They give you his name.
Maximoff,
yeah. It's Quicksilver.
Yeah, we know who it is. But thankfully,
the general audience, you're just talking about the mass audience who wouldn't be able to wrap their head around.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I just didn't want to go through that whenever Age of Ultron.
It's like I said, for nerds, the bar is set very high now because we just saw Aaron Taylor Johnson in a movie, and he flubbed it in Godzilla. He was awful in that movie.
Well, I don't know how you deliver those lines any better.
I'm not going to put that all on him.
I don't think that's his fault.
But he was pretty deadpan about that.
Yeah.
The one thing it's a gag that's been used, but the one thing I really wanted to see in this movie when they were in Quicksilver, I'm sorry, Peter's house.
Right.
So sorry.
Peter.
When they were in Peter's house, it's like a closet full of shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Boxes of shoes because they said that he went through shoes like crazy.
Right. Yeah.
But they did do the gag with the
welcome mat
with the streak through it. That was, but I mean, yeah, that scene. If they had put out an article on how they did that technically and everything, it was really good. But that scene was so fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Everyone in the theater, both times that we saw it, were just jaw dropping during that scene.
Yeah, it was so
cool.
good. It was really
done
good.
well.
Yeah, he was good in that. I got to give props to Bryan Singer, for coming back and pulling this off, because it's a big movie. It's a big epic, and he had to, if you go back to like what we were saying about why they made this movie, which is basically to erase all the mistakes they've made in the X-Men universe. He was working a lot. He was spinning a lot of plates in this movie, and he pulled it off for the most part. I thought Magneto, Fassbender was the best. I mean, he was really, really good in First Class, but it was great to see him finally in the outfit, doing his thing as Magneto.
Absolutely.
And it was
I mean, that's the thing about this movie is, yes, you're right. The reason is to reset it, but it's so much more than just a reset movie. The story holds up. It's not,
it's a good movie in and of itself.
Right, in and of itself, it's not just. It doesn't just serve the purpose of a reset. Like a lot of reset movies aren't that good because they're just their focus is only to do that and then fuck everything else.
Well, it's like Star Trek.
Yeah,
9.
but this holds up so well on all levels, and it's got problems. It's not a perfect movie. It's not a perfect superhero movie, but it's one of the best they've done.
Yeah. I mean, I put it just a notch below X-Men 2. X-Men 2 was just the thing with X-Men 2, and this goes to why
you say you like X-Men 2 better than
yes, and this goes and part of the reason is because of why Days of Future Past exists, because they had to make this movie to reset everything. X-Men 2 felt like the second issue of a comic book. Everything segued perfectly into that movie. They talk about, they don't go into like long exposition going, oh, Gene, you mean after Liberty Island where we fought Magneto and blah, 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 blah. No, he just goes, you've been different after Liberty Island. And you're like, oh, because it's all seamless. And, they recast a couple minor parts. They recast Pyro, but X-Men 2 was just, it led right in off of that with him having the flashbacks in the first one. And then now he finds out the truth about where he got his claws and all that stuff in the second one. It was just great. The school scene. As much as I like Days of Future Past, there was never a point where I got as excited, about the movie as that school scene when those guys assault the school.
He keeps saying movie. I think he means Wolverine.
To finally see...
Right?
Yeah.
Everything you mentioned so far is directly related to Wolverine.
The last half hour will be about the naked butt shot of Wolverine.
No, it won't be.
The moonlight shot.
No. The moonlight shot. No, Wolverine is my favorite character.
No, absolutely.
From the comics.
I'm
it was great to see him. Yeah. They finally... It was
shirtless throughout the entire movie.
You do know that I'm the one who edits this, so I can just,
We can have fun.
We were going to have Matt King.
We can have fun in the moment.
We were going to have Matt King on the show, but, sorry he couldn't make it. Yeah. Why does that episode sound just so disjointed? Because I don't know. Ed, I don't know. There's a dog barking the whole time. I had to take him out. But it was great to see Wolverine unleashed basically in that school scene and just going.
Oh yeah, that was awesome. I just for me, what carries it over is I just loved. And you say, I heard you mention there wasn't enough action in Days of Future Past. I kind of disagree. I thought it was pretty evenly balanced, but I just really liked the action that was in Days of Future Past. I like how dark it was at the beginning.
Yeah.
I like the Quicksilver scene, was one of my favorite action scenes in a superhero movie ever.
Yeah.
I mean, I just liked the action so much, and then the story kept me engaged the whole time. So that just, to me, takes it above X1 and 2. But X1 and 2 are still just so fun, just for the I hate to use the word novelty, but I will, of learning the characters again through a movie, right? It's so fun to, and especially like you say in X2, where you've kind of gotten the feel for them, but now you really get into who they are.
Right.
Obviously, you can't do that again. But for me, that's what put this one above. But yeah, I can see where you're coming from with X2.
The other thing for X-Men 2 though was the promise. There was so much promise at the end of that movie.
The promise of X3.
When they teased Phoenix.
Yeah, it was perfect. It was. They said it. I mean, I remember sitting in the theater. You're thinking Phoenix. You're thinking Phoenix, and then
they actually showed the outline.
They show you outline. I was just like, I remember going, yeah, and then Last Stand came out.
Yeah.
I mean, the only other time I really felt like that after a movie was after The Dark Knight, when my mind started really going and saying, where are they going to go from here? Where are they going to take the story? And then, and
I mean, even watching it last night, it was fun watching with you because you got so excited just seeing action unfold.
God, I mean,
spoiler alert! I'm referring to Wolverine with the shirt off.
Right.
All the character moments are great in that. When he goes and Bobby's in the kitchen and he gets the soda and he just he hands it to him and he goes, makes it all cold. He goes, thanks. It was just perfect. And so
the scenes with Cyclops also. What was that scene you liked with the?
Your bike needs gas, and then he throws the keys. Cyclops throws him right back and goes, fill it up, and he does it right back.
Great stuff.
And then they made a bunch of shitty X-Men movies. So,
but anyway, back to the main point. This movie, no matter how much you do like it, it's a very good movie.
Yeah.
Whether you think it's excellent or just good, it's well worth seeing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. It is.
No, I agree. You can't love them all.
No, that's true.
But it's a solid movie, and there's no denying that. It's worth seeing. It fits well within the universe and resets the universe.
Yeah, resets the universe.
Yeah.
The universe doesn't exist anymore now. No more Robot Samurai, I guess.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, the worst part of a really, really good movie.
Yeah.
First Class, I watched a little bit of it this morning, and I think my initial review that I did back when it came out was a little bit harsher on it, but it only goes up like a little notch from C plus maybe to B minus because
there's a lot wrong with it, but where they were going to try to send it. I told that this kind of. I thought that they were going to continue the storyline from there, but obviously they're not exactly.
Well, if Matthew Vaughn had stayed on, I'm sure that's what would have happened.
Right.
Yeah.
He was going to
direct
where they were
this,
trying
wasn't
to
he?
take it. Where they were trying to take it was great. But yeah, the movie has a lot more problems than you can overlook them all.
Right.
It
does.
Is the thing to say about
it
the
does.
First Class.
Yeah,
but it's still not terrible.
They put a lot of characters in that movie that were from the comics that were not the characters from the comics, and it's just you might as well just call them something different.
Yeah.
Like Sebastian Shaw.
I know you hated his mutant ability in the movie.
Well, I mean, they changed his powers completely. I mean,
but
it's like
I love Kevin Bacon in the X-Men movie.
No, Kevin Bacon did.
Love it.
He was
Let's
really
hear it for
good.
the boy.
He was really good in the Nazi scenes. When he was playing, the Nazi guy.
That's a great scene in the movie. I love how they. I'm not even sure when I first saw First Class. And this goes back because I never rewatched the X-Men movies until I didn't realize they used the same scenes.
They redid that scene, but it was
not just that scene, but the one with Mystique in the kitchen with the boy. When Charles meets Mystique for the first time, it's the same scene as they use in X1.
No,
it's the same boy. It's
no,
the
it's
same
not.
Little boy.
In X-Men 1?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
That's
impossible.
It's the same boy. I think
it's
I
not.
think
There's no
but
there's no scene in. Are you talking about from Days of Future Past?
From Days of Future Past? No, I'm talking about when.
There is no scene between Charles and Mystique in X-Men
X1
1.
or X2. I don't know.
No, there's no.
I just watched the movies. I literally just watched these movies for the past 24 hours.
So did I. I'm telling you. There's the whole thing with Mystique being related to Charles Xavier. That came up in First Class. They invented that for First Class. That wasn't in any of the other movies.
Was it in Days of Future Past?
Yeah. They just showed that scene from
they just
First
showed that
Class.
little girl.
They just showed that little girl.
Okay.
You should know she haunts your nightmares.
Yeah. That little girl's creepy as all fuck. She's scary. Mystique I'm fine with. I would get in bed with Mystique. But this little girl is scary as shit. Yeah, I said it. I like Jennifer Lawrence, whether she's blue or not.
She's hot.
When she does that split in the air, or that kick, whatever you want to call it, it's amazing.
Yes.
It's amazing.
It was.
It's no Wolverine.
Oh my God.
God.
That's you saying that, my friend.
On your behalf.
But anyway, yeah, I love that that was so integrated. It was really cool. But First Class, you're right. There's so much wrong with it. I really liked this. I was so excited to see Kevin Bacon in the X-Men movie. I don't know.
Moira McTaggart, CIA agent and future geneticist. Wow.
I mean,
good for you.
They
That's a big
I
career
don't even
jump.
know why they bothered to call her.
They should have just called her.
They just call her Agent X.
I mean, it's just like, and then the other thing is too is they basically ruined the White Queen. That she's not going to be in it anymore.
Yeah.
So was she dead? Was she one of the ones they showed in the files?
Yes, because Magneto's that's one of the names that he calls out. He names basically all the characters you don't see in First Class that in this new one, they're dead. Basically, that's all you.
That's a.
They even changed the reason they're called the X-Men for some reason.
Yeah.
Right. In First Class, Moira gives
they changed
gives
so
them
much.
the name. In X1, is Charles says this is what the kids like to
call
playfully
us.
call us.
Yeah. Banshee's dead, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I like Banshee. I thought he was my favorite one of the new students they brought in.
I'd say Mystique was my favorite.
I can just see Pete Holmes firing Banshee really easily. So your mutant powers that you scream really loud. You'd be great at a rock concert, but we'll call you if we need you.
But here's the other problem, because if you remember in X2, when the soldiers come in, there's a girl that screams and shatters all the windows.
Sure is, yeah.
That's Banshee's daughter. That's supposed to be Banshee's daughter.
He has a daughter that.
Well, not now.
He could have had a daughter.
So in the comics, he had a daughter.
Yeah, he had a Siren.
Oh, okay.
And she was in X Factor, X Force. I can't remember which one.
Okay.
But she was in one of them at some point.
Yeah, I remember watching that last night and thinking, hey,
let's get to the real reason why Matt wasn't totally impressed with Days of Future Past. It's because there is so little Colossus in this movie.
That's true. That's
well, you didn't like the makeup either, right?
1/3 of a that was Jim. 1/3 of a point gets marked off for once again crapping out the shittiest Colossus ever.
Yeah,
it's
not.
What does Bryan Singer have against this guy?
Yeah. He's pretty.
I think it's what he has for the actor. It's
just like Colossus in the comics and more from what I know in the cartoon. Yeah, he's a titan. I mean, you can't mess with this guy.
But
he's so easy. He's always so easy to take down.
He wasn't a big. He wasn't a big.
Well,
he wasn't a big part of the cartoon either, was he?
Mm.
See, that's
he was in the cartoon,
but he wasn't.
He wasn't like he wasn't one of the main.
But see, that's the thing. I mean, in the comics, I mean, Colossus is like one of the main X-Men.
All over the place.
I mean, he's all over the place. I mean, he's one of the big. He's
like an astonishing X-Men. He was huge in that story.
Yeah, no, he was. Yeah.
So just
he was also a big part of the story.
Like say one line in the movie.
Yeah, that's too bad.
It was so right. Or whatever he says.
Might as well be.
Hey, what's up? I mean, he's on screen for like 10 seconds and he dies.
Yeah, twice.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool death though, man. Being ripped in half. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it might have been a B+ had they not done that. As it is, it's a
see, the thing is though,
look, it's just like you with Wolverine. When you have so much invested in a single character, you're always going to be jaded when they.
That's true, but the thing is,
had like
bad with that character.
6 movies now,
right? So they've had a chance.
The thing is for me is the reason why I'm also kind of at peace with some of the stuff they did, because I mean I want to see more Colossus too, but the reason why I'm more at peace is because also I understand Fox is making these X-Men movies,
right? And
they're never going to be perfect, and they do a great job of shitting on my X-Men. So oh, you did that? I'm not surprised. So it's like, because it's like they halfway get it and then they don't get it at the same time. So it's the truth is until Marvel gets it all back, which is not going to happen.
You're not going to get.
You're not going to get.
You're not going to get a real. Let's call it "quote unquote" real X-Men.
Right. So this is the closest. This is the closest it's going to get. And
hey, I'm just looking forward to Gambit.
Yes.
Matt's with me on that. Matt's on board with that. I'm not happy about Tatum. Maybe he can do it. I would not have seen him in that part, but I've said the same thing before with
he's trying to cut the mic off.
Yeah. I hear you. What do you call him?
Gambit is the poor man's Wolverine.
The poor man's Wolverine, whatever.
That doesn't even make sense.
I don't even know what that means.
That doesn't make sense.
It does.
You know what?
It makes total sense.
You know what? He's racist.
Yeah,
I'm racist
He
against
hates Louisiana.
Cajuns.
He hates
yeah,
Cajuns.
he hates Cajuns.
I hate them Cajun Southerners.
I say.
No, he is. He's the poor man's Wolverine.
No,
he
What
was.
does that even mean?
What it means is that
It means
Wolverine
that
was
means He
their
doesn't look as good with his shirt off, so Doug
Yes.
doesn't like him.
Wolverine was their mysterious character in the X-Men. You didn't know much about his past. They started revealing too much about Wolverine. They said, we need a new mystery character. Let's get this douchebag in there. And when he showed up in the comics, it was just
I'm
like
sure that was a word for word recount of what happened.
it was exactly. It
Let's
was
get this
exactly
douchebag.
Right. So they were trying to create another mystery man.
right. Basically,
Inside
you didn't know. You
inside
didn't
the-
know.
He's an enigma.
edgy,
Yeah.
edgy,
Right.
new edgy character.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
And
Well, I liked it. I liked what they did.
Gambit, I just never.
He can twirl a baton like nobody's business.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can. So
He's a majorette.
I just
and
never
like it.
bought into Gambit. I never.
Yeah.
He was
Oh,
never.
man,
my
he was
favorite
always
character.
he was a big factor in the cartoons. And
But
I
the only reason
really
why
liked
that's
it.
the case is because they based that team off of
Sure.
X-Men
But
1,
that's
which
what I'm
was
saying.
the
is the
best-selling
again,
comic book of all
Again,
time.
I didn't read the comics, so that's
Right.
why I'm saying I knew the cartoons, and for whatever reason,
Yeah,
he
that
was
was
just
the-
always my standout in the cartoons.
that was the blue team from, and then they added Storm basically and Jean, and that was the blue team from the X-Men books at the time.
I don't know if I read it or you told me he's not going to be fully in the next one.
No,
But
as far
it's
as
more of a setup for the
the Gambit movie,
yeah.
because we need that. From what I understand is, and we can talk about that.
Matt, we can go see that.
We'll go
movie.
see it.
No, we can talk about that for just a second. But
Yeah.
from what I understand, he's only going to have a cameo in Apocalypse.
Okay,
But no, let's talk about that, because the reason why the X-Men movies work so much better, I think, than the Wolverine movies is because the X-Men were formed as a team.
Yeah.
Like they're a team first, and then if you spin them off, they don't work the same way as Avengers. Avengers are all solo heroes that just come together
right
for
right.
a big movie.
It's the exact opposite. They're
It's the exact opposite. And X-Men, I feel, would work because there's so many characters. Would work better as a TV show, and that's how you would get the
Okay.
perfect X-Men. You could have the same cast, just make a high budget TV show, and that would be the best way to get X-Men. The movies, there's too much story and too many characters.
That's why Wolverine also works well as a solo agent too, because he was always the
Right,
outsider
Right.
of the X-Men.
right. But
So-
there's too many characters and there's too many plot lines going on to stuff it all into 2-hour movies, and that's
Yeah.
why there's always a little uneven.
That's a good point.
And that's why a lot of X-Men fans are pissed about these movies at the same time, because the majority of them are Wolverine movies. They all
Right.
focus on Wolverine when
Mhm.
you need to focus, like I said, with X-Men 3 should have been Jean and Cyclops, basically, and Wolverine should have been a periphery character.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully they'll get Cyclops right in Apocalypse.
Yeah, hopefully they'll write him correctly. And it's a shame, because James Marsden I thought was perfect in the role.
No,
I think
he's
was
great.
perfect.
Like I said, as Logan, he's awesome.
That's Scott.
Scott.
Logan's Wolverine.
Yeah, damn.
See?
I said it earlier.
There's too many characters
Too many
for him to keep
characters,
track.
I always mix and match.
But, like, you know,
Names
but-
are never that
But
important.
Avengers should be a movie, because this is all the solo characters coming together for their big,
Yeah.
2-hour fart.
Right.
And
That's what it'll be.
hey, Professor Xavier on the poster for this movie farts an explosion, so why not?
X-Men, the giant fart. The fart heard around the world.
Avengers 3. So,
Good to see you, old friend.
Charles, did you just fart? No, I didn't. Oh,
Yeah,
I don't remember you farting.
Take your helmet off. But man, yeah. Anyway, great movie. Definitely see Days of Future Past if you have not already. I'd be surprised if you haven't, because it did very well at the box office this weekend.
Did they say how much it made for the first 3 days?
The first
yet.
3 days didn't
It made 90 something for the
The first
Friday.
day, yeah, the first Friday it was just under
Captain America.
Captain America, and I think they were at 113 as of yesterday, or was that worldwide?
That's what they were. No, that's
That
what they
was
were predicting.
worldwide.
I think that's what
they
they were.
were projecting 113.
113 for the
okay.
4-day weekend.
Yeah.
For the 4-day weekend.
Yeah, 4-day weekend.
But yeah, I have a feeling we're going to see some high numbers,
Probably.
I hope so.
and
I mean,
deservedly so.
yeah, I'd like to see more X-Men movies. I mean, they're going to make them anyway, but I'd like to see more X-Men movies.
Absolutely,
And,
yeah, they got plenty to.
And good
Plenty
X-Men
of cool
movies
stuff.
like this. I don't want them to go back to
Origins.
The Last
and-
Stand and X-Men Origins. And but again, as I said, I'm used to Fox fucking up the X-Men movies. The Wolverine is the perfect. The Wolverine is
from existence.
the perfect example. They had 2/3 of a good movie, and then at the end, it just
Oh, the Flash Wolverine.
Yeah,
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 absolutely,
crappy movie.
absolutely. If they had just stuck with the core story,
from what I understand, Aronofsky's the script that Chris McQuarrie did with Aronofsky was going to be.
That movie did not need to be about mutants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see.
Yep.
So,
Matt, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, you're welcome.
And again, correct me if I'm wrong, September 17th?
16th.
September 16th, Godsend
He got the month.
I got the month right.
Yeah.
September 16th, Godsend is dropping on us, folks. You want to read it, it's wonderful.
Scott Summers 16th? Wait, what?
Wait.
Logan, the 12th. What are you talking about?
But yeah, thanks for joining us, Matt.
Yep.
Again.
Thanks for having me again.
I'm sure we'll see you when we talk about Transformers.
So I'll see you in September.
Hey, they truly are robots in disguise in this one. Got beards and trench coats.
And cigars.
And beer bellies and cigars.
It's like a Santa Claus.
It was Santa Claus
Yeah.
with a cigar.
I cannot wait to do the video
What a
review for
piece
that.
of shit. That movie already fucking sucks.
Hey, I think we found a Transformer.
He said, "How do you mother for me, Optimus?" No, but we will definitely have.
Yeah.
What
is the happening?
We will try. We will try and get Matt to go see that movie.
It's not happening. Happening. There you go.
It's
Not happening.
But if not, we will definitely have Matt back when we go see Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
At the end of
that's
summer.
Big August release.
Like you forgot that was coming out.
is there a movie coming out?
Oh, is that coming out August 1st? I had no idea.
Oh.
Did the director leave that movie too?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, this was a fun one today, guys.
Yeah. So go see X-Men Days of Future Past. Go catch up on your X-Men movies and look to the future. And X-Men Apocalypse comes out, 2016? 2 years from now?
2016.
So that should be a good one. And we will see you next time.
Thanks for listening.